do each of you believe are the upcoming opportunities for growth in cybersecurity? In which areas would you invest capital? Start with you, Tim.
That's another, boy, you got some loaded questions here. So, wow, and it's actually also a really hard time to invest in cybersecurity, to be honest with you. There is so much money flowing into the space, and I mean that in a very positive way. I actually have several good close friends who have all left their CISO roles to join VCs or private equities, as partners to help find where to put the money, right? So, I think I'll touch on maybe a couple areas that I continue to see as a challenge that I think need to be better solved. I think one area is really that transformation. Most companies are still in this hybrid on-prem and in the cloud model. I personally don't think most companies really even understand how much they really are in the cloud already, especially with their third parties. So I'm a big fan that more and more investment into, sort of the configuration of security in the cloud across the full stack and across multi-cloud is really going to be a huge opportunity, and real observability. How do you know you are healthy in those cloud environments, especially also across a multi-cloud environment? So that's a huge one for me, and certainly one that I'm seeing. I've met with a few companies that are actually over the weekend who are trying to solve that in very creative, non-sticky ways. So that would be one for me. I think one other one. I think privacy. I agree with Craig's 2004 paper that certainly private, and probably also related to Jason's statements, right? Compliance is not security and security is not compliance. That we really need to find a better way to truly show how data is flowing, being transacted, and in more of a real-time way. Because I will say, certainly, we do like everybody else. We do our annual, biannual, quarterly, audits and assessments. They're only as good as that snapshot, and how deep your third parties, your auditors, yourself, you go. It's not enough. It's not sufficient for where we're headed, especially with the proliferation of the data, as you all know. So I think there's really great opportunity in that space to do a better job. So that's where I would put a couple of my bucks if I had some more.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Jason, what about you?
So I give you two answers. One, if I'm investing just for where I think the market's going, I think I would put money in AI and machine learning. I think that this is going to continue to play just a larger and larger role in the analysis and threat hunting and detection and automation of responses. I don't think that mitigates or downplays the need for people, really highly skilled, highly trained people to be involved. But the amount of data, the amount of threats, just sheer volume, we need to be tackling this with even more advanced, sophisticated systems that are digging into things that it's really hard for a human mind to see in that large of data. If I think about investments that I would be making as far as just protecting my own personal organization, it would be investing back in people. So again, enhanced training. Not just run through a 20-minute security awareness training, but really better training to help them understand what the risks are and how much of the risk they themselves are, and the reason we need to have these controls in place, and convince them not to try to mitigate it with all the avenues that they try to get around the protections we put in place.
Got it. Thank you. Craig.
Yeah, I think two things. I think what Tim talked about, where you have your data is in an ecosystem over several partners, and where is your data? How is it being governed and protected? And be able to see that in real time and understand that, not just in a quarterly assessment, but again, real time. So I think there's opportunities around that space, because the data is everywhere now. especially with the proliferation of SaaS products, and you may have 100 SaaS products that a large organization may be leveraging. And the other thing I think about is the same technology being used for innovation today in products are being used in innovation in attacks. AI, as Jason said, AI and ML, metamorphic and polymorphic attacks where things are, with every iteration of an attack, they're going to change and modify itself. The protections need to be able to respond and change to protect from a kind of a polymorphic way. So I think just trying to stay ahead and be able to respond quickly and adapt is products that can do that. They can see those patterns and change and adapt. I think are really going to help to protect us from the things that are changing and attacking from an attack vector standpoint.